Well, welcome everyone to another game in this Burial Ground series. And I think, Chev, as the narrator, you should tell us a little bit more about the game and the system and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I am Chev. Uh, so we are playing today Icon, which is a Blades in the Dark, Forged in the Dark derivative that has a mix of narrative combat or narrative play and tactical play. It was created by one of the or it the guy who makes a webcomic Kill 6 Billion Demons and also created the mech RPG Lancer also made this, and it is a kind of high fantasy post-apocalypse setting. For any of you who are familiar with the system, we are playing it with just the narrative portion only, and this is the third in a mini series, and so I hope you all enjoy. It is yeah. Let's go. Is there anything else I need to say first? No, we can go into characters. Let's go the opposite way around and start with Zero.
All right. Yeah, I'm Zero Delight. I'm from here. And I am playing Kenzo. Kenzo is a Thren. I'm not even looking at my sheet, I remember it. Which is kind of like a elf human gelfling something, we're not quite sure, but like a common species. And he makes his living by chasing around to the appearances of all these strange relics from the before times, and telling stories that entertain everyone. He is a harlequin, which means that he's charming and kind of glib and fast on his feet. Has a few little fun powers, like he can tell when people are lying to him, and he can just be somewhere else through teleportation, and then in combat that gets amped up with like lightning powers and stuff, because he also is a magic wielder, which in this world is called a Wright with a W. Is that correct? Am I remembering that correct? Yes.
That is correct.
So yes, he is like every character I play, kind of a lot more on the face than anything else. So cool. Hey, Morvins.
Hello, I am Twi'lek and I'm playing Morvins. Morvins is a badger beastkin, which means that he is a badger, which is very important information. And Morvins is a churner, like Kenzo, which is basically people who follow around ruins and offer, trading and services there to passing adventurers. And Morvins is a mender, which means that I'm quite good at being nice to people. And I'm also terribly, terribly injured. Sin.
Hi, I'm Sin, or Sinful __ Potato, on Twitch and many other platforms. It's cool. Woo! I play Leos Inar, or Lee, who is a Throg, so like super tall, long-lasting ogre, giant Oni species type deal. Because they live for like hundreds and hundreds of years. They don't reproduce as quickly as other races may, so they're not super common. Yeah. Leos is also an islander, so you gotta have that Newfie accent because Newfoundland is an island and that's cool. Woo. And then Leos is also the elder because they're like 200 years old and 7 feet tall and definitely the oldest of the group, maybe. I don't know. I think so. I'd assume so. I mean, I've been assuming so this whole time, so if I'm wrong, that's really on them for not telling me, so I don't know. yeah, they've definitely not accidentally almost chopped off Morven's arm, and definitely didn't almost kind of set the library on fire. It's cool, it's fine. Everything is fine. Oh yeah, they have a weapon that's a broken legendary weapon that its name is Atlas, and it it used to be able to go on fire, but then like after one too many swims in the river, it stopped doing so. But then recently, within last session, it started to ignite again. So that's pretty cool. And then so through like just random tinkering, Leos almost burned down the chronicler's library. This is fine. It's fun. It's cool. Everything was forgiven. It's fine. Misha.
All right, I'm Misha, or Misha_less_than 3 here on Twitch. I'm playing Chia. She is a Thrin, which are the elf people who are pretty common throughout the land. Her culture is the Chroniclers, which are people who value truth and justice and discovery and tradition. And even though they have a group that are known to be suppressors, it's all for the greater good and not for evil purposes. She is pretty sure of that. At any rate, she hangs out with these guys to help find more knowledge and stuff from all these runes that pop up, which is her pastime. She also knows what magic is. She has a cool, like, magical swizzle stick thing, which is neat. And hopefully collapsible, because otherwise everyone will definitely be like, where'd you get that weird chronicler weapon? And she's a geomancer. So, earth magic and stuff is her specialty.
Cool.
So,
thanks, everybody. So for those of you watching, brief recap. So maybe not more than about a week ago, a ruin came to the surface in an otherwise unremarkable, unnamed valley. And this is not an unusual occurrence, not unheard of. It's usually pretty bad when a ruin comes to the surface, because that usually means that a blight will come if it is not taken care of. A blight being a, corruption of the land from the ruin, waves of monsters coming from underground, just bad things. And so the players are icons or heroes who spend their time going to ruins like the ones that just came up. These particular ruins are... the visible part on the surface is about a square, about a mile on a side, enormous stone heads with pained and angry and sad expressions line all of the outer edge of the square. There is a square, a cubic structure in the middle that is visible, but the party has not made an attempt to visit it yet. The way from the outer edge to the middle is, not visibly impassable, but there are large earthen berms with jagged edges on the top that are in concentric rings around the upper structure. And after, in the first session, exploring one of the interiors of the largest heads on the edge, on the periphery, they discovered a stone mock-up of the whole structure that seemed to indicate that there was a much, much larger underground portion that went, kind of in a conic area down into the ground. So whatever is here on the surface is just, the tip of the iceberg. The party has been exploring around the edges of the ruins, have met one of the other factions. They met the members of a chronicler band, colloquially known as the Bookers, who are generally known to go to areas of particularly dangerous or historically interesting ruins. There are other groups that are known to be around, other major factions, the Stonebreakers, who are a churner group, and also the Overgrowth, who are a Legio band. Legio being typically a culture of traders, crafters who happen to go around and don't particularly associate with the ruins, but and anyway, so the party. So morning dawns. We left off our party after they were camping, after visiting with the Bookers and meeting their leader. They have agreed to attempt to infiltrate the Stonebreaker camp. They ended up camping in between the two. On a map, Stonebreaker is on the north edge of the square that forms the surface of the ruins. The Bookers on the east, the Overgrowth on the west, and then the original area that the party was camped was to the south. And after basically turning one of their original campsite into an enormous beacon, attracting the attention of everyone in the valley, the party decided it was better to move camp. So where we will start up is the night was fairly uneventful, at least in terms of anyone, no one bothering you all. The land, the noise around you is similarly no animal sounds to be heard. The nature sounds you would normally be accustomed to are no there. It's been a couple nights now in the area. You're starting to get used to it. It's almost nice. There was definitely more activity around in kind of the area tonight than you experienced on the previous nights. In the middle of the night, you could hear that there were various bands going back and forth. You could hear like the rattling of armor, the crunching of stone underfoot, the rap of walking sticks on the ground. If you listened carefully out in the darkness, someone was skirting your campsite. They were going around you. They had business elsewhere, and you were not part of it. You could tell that there was a team that various parties from all quarters, people going from the north to the east, from the east to the north, going all just everywhere. Maybe 2 or 3 major parties had gone by while y'all were resting. As part of the the payment for agreeing to go investigate the Stonebreakers, the Bookers gave you all some dust as reward and as a down payment, and also they gave you an artifact from their stores, which I think we decided before recording the stream was going to be a mask that one of you could wear that would allow you to basically just absorb some strain from a roll that had consequences. And I'm curious so as we're kind of, dawn is breaking, everyone is getting up from, whatever sleep that they managed to get. I'm curious what y'all were getting up to the evening previously. Was anybody working on any projects, investigating anything, doing anything of note the night before?
Trying to teach Chia how to act like something different so that she isn't immediately spotted by the Stonebreakers and eaten.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, and Chia's like, I got it, don't worry. Look, I have completely normal clothing. I researched the area before I came here, I have these.
All right.
Yeah. And I can hide this, and she collapses the swizzle stick into itself, as you do, and puts it away. And yeah, I think that's about it, right?
Except for like the way you talk and act.
Well, that's completely normal. Right?
No.
Morvins? Leos?
Chia, You have a very beautiful diction and a great lexicon, and we all value you.
Yes. And if you use words like diction and lexicon in front of the Stormbreakers, they're going to know that you're a scribbler and they're going to eat you.
Well, that doesn't seem quite right. I guess you both are churners, though, so maybe you have a better idea about this.
Maybe instead of trying to get rid of your instincts, you could hang a hat on a lampshade and do something a bit more obvious. Have an more immediate tell. Perhaps you could try burping a lot while you're in the Stonebreakers camp, so that they know you're not at all suave or sophisticated like you really are.
Right, and like spitting on the ground, and like blowing my nose and wiping out my sleeve.
Oh. I mean, they're civilized people. Come on. We should just get you super drunk. That'll solve everything.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Just cook up some extra super strong of your special apple cider there, Morvins. We'll just get Chia loaded.
Absolutely.
All right.
And when news group comes, all you gotta do is just grab onto their hand with a thick handshake and just pull them all in and go. Then you've gotten.
Wise advice.
That could be a plan B.
And so was that the night goes on as you all are trying to give Chia some like, you know, those scenes where it's like balance a book on your head as you walk properly and everything. You're trying to like teach the opposite of all of those habits to Chia.
Yeah. It's the
curious
reverse
also...
of all those glow up scenes in the teen movies. This is the glow down.
Chia, have you been investigating the letter at all that that you had gotten from the Bookers?
I would think so, since I know there's a secret message in it.
Okay.
Still, not that I'm not too sure how relevant will be now that we've met with them, but you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead and give me. I think you did it with study before.
Yeah. That's 2 2s, so you know.
Yeah.
I'm really absorbing these don't think too hard lessons.
Yeah. You're not actually even sure that you were right about those code words that you picked out previously. Like, you know you are, but you're starting to doubt yourself on that.
It's probably the cider.
Yeah. Anybody else have any anything that they would have been working on once they had some alone time to themselves? Okay. So the day dawns bright and early. Y'all are getting up, and as you're breaking camp. So how are you all planning on approaching this? I know that you all are like, you know, you're gonna try and avoid any obvious tells that Chia is associated with the Chroniclers. You don't want to obviously tell them outright that you are associated with the Bookers. But are you going in to just see what's up? Are you going to try and talk to the leader or talk to anyone important, or are you just scouting the lay of the land? Like, what's your play here?
Well, the first play is to make sure that Morvins ticks off 2 marks on the clock so that you aren't about to die anymore.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So I think that will make you fully recovered, except for cosmetically.
That will make me fully recovered, yes.
Excellent. Good. Now we don't have to worry
Nice.
about you dying. Well, we have 2 approaches, right? We could go in and be all like, oh, did you see what happened down there? We have no idea what happened down there, and be all sneaky and lie and stuff like that. Or we could just go in and say, ugh, those scribblers hired us to come and like whatever, but we're not with them. but we did hear that you guys were having a cool time, so we're interested, and maybe we know something that you don't know. So like we could lie or we could be honest, basically.
Or you could just walk in there and punch the first guy you see.
You know.
Yep, just it's the prison rule of life. You find the biggest person and you punch them.
And then we run the Stonebreakers? That seems like it's... I don't want to run the Stonebreakers, though.
It's a hard
Sounds
line
like
to walk. Because we have to persuade the Stonebreakers in order to cooperate with the Bookers. But if we just say we're from the Bookers, they won't let us in.
Yeah. Well, are we trying to persuade them, or are we trying to identify... I mean, the mission is really to identify turncoats in the Stonebreakers. And basically recruit double agents.
And get them to stop or slow down their progress.
Yeah, and then convince them to sabotage their own faction's actions.
Then perhaps we could pretend we're merchants in order to gain in access to the camp, and from there talk to various people who might have access to their supplies.
Well, that presumes that we want to do what the Scribblers want us to do. I'm not entirely
They kind of
convinced.
paid us.
So,
You'll never see them again.
They're right over there.
I mean, we can always also just lie and say we tried. No, I just, I don't know. I don't like the idea of I don't know, something about every time I think about executing the Booker's plan to their details, there's this like whole like twiddly mustache, kind of evil villainous vibe to it that I'm not down with.
You think everyone has a villainous vibe?
Would you like to go and see the other group then?
No, I'd say we go in, but we don't have to like be like. I think we go in and tell them that, hey, we are here, and there was this thing with the head, and it was hot, and whatever. Do you know anything about it? Because we know some stuff about it.
Fair. And if you look at it in the way that if they slow down their efforts in the middle part of the head, then we, as our team, would have more advantage if we were to go into the middle.
Right.
Because they wouldn't have already gotten it.
Word.
It's not entirely not advantageous.
Yeah. That part I'm down with.
Even though even worn by two different people, that it's very dangerous. Though one of them was Tally, so
Yeah. It'll be fine. So our plan is to play it by ear. Is that what we're saying?
pretty much.
But to avoid outright lying as much as we can. And to be friendly and nice and helpful.
Cool. So, as you all set out, you pack up your camp. You've got your goods and sundries packed up with you. As you make your way around the northern edge, you pass head after head. On your left, you can see that there's no sign of any of the, stone heating up or any energy effects or anything that had happened at the southern head. Nothing like that here. It's just you can see some rubble near where the head's pushed up out of the ground, and just the various like scrub and grassland around you as you make your way around. As you get closer to where you can see that the camp is, two things become one thing starts to become apparent. There is a intermittent thumping sound. It feels like a shake in the ground, that there is not a pattern, not a regular cadence to it, just someone is pounding without rhythm on the earth itself, and you can feel it very far away. And also, as you are getting closer, you can see that the camp itself is there seems to be they've set up at the back of the the central large head at the northern edge, and you can see that there is there is a circular kind of area. There is a structure that is starting to be built in up against the actual head itself. Someone has started to put up scaffolding. It's already about 30-40 feet up in the air. It looks like it's built out of wood for now as you're kind of coming closer, and also from very far away you can see that there are figures leaping up into the air. It's almost like fleas jumping on a dog. That there's small figures that you see them go up into the air, pause, and then come back down, and up, and then back down. And every time you see one of those figures come down, maybe 10-20 seconds later, that's when you feel one of these tremors in the earth as you're making your way forward. So it's not completely flat ground, so you can't quite get a great view of the camp before you come up on it pretty close. But eventually you come up over one last foothill, and you can see that there is where the Booker camp had been very orderly and neat. This is not chaos exactly, but it's definitely not as rigidly planned as the Bookers had. You can tell that there's a central area where there are some larger, nicer tents that have been set up, that more ornately decorated. Looks like people have embellished them with embroidery and with paint, and they've started to set up some nice furniture in the area, and then around it, there are kind of quadrants where there are much more like hastily constructed kind of smaller camplets. You can tell over there's where some supply tents, no like person-sized sleeping tents, just larger ones with some crates visible. You can tell that there's an area that has some larger open areas that people are congregating that's on the far side, and then the structure that you could see being built up against the head itself, like I said, it's from very far away. It's maybe about 30-40 feet tall, built out of wood so far, but it's actively being worked on. There are people that are hauling more wood, more scaffolding, and also you can see that they're hauling enormous boulders. That they're actually building a foundation of a tower that is being set up against the outside of the head. And now that you're closer, you can see that there are, you can still see that, what you saw before, people leaping up into the air and coming back down on the ground. And it's very clear now that there is that, the tremors that you've been feeling are coming from them.
Is it like a trampoline, or are they just jumping high?
You can't really see just yet. You can see that there seem to be several spots that people are jumping up from, and then they land in kind of varied areas. So what exactly is propelling them up, you can't quite see, but it does seem like there are like maybe 10, 15 different spots that people are being shot up from.
Cool. Pogo sticks. Leos, is this familiar to you, this leaping stuff?
Are they familiar?
No. So I would say... if anybody is curious about whether they might have heard anything about this, give me just a fortune roll. So like just 2d6, no benefits.
6.
Okay. You've heard about this. It didn't quite hit you until you noticed that all of them are coming from the same spot. But there are a class of a type of artifact that had been like cobbled together. That is the kind of thing that lots of people independently figure out how to do. That usually it is some sort of circular pad, maybe about 5 feet in diameter, that is magically enchanted so that when you pound on your feet with a specific activation rhythm, the magic propels you up into the air. And you know that this is usually paired with, if someone can get their hands on one of these, that there are certain other magical artifacts that it has good synergy with. Including ones that allow you to turn, speed into massive damage. Yeah.
Did
4 out of
anyone?
10.
Oh, well, what was? Remember, it's trying to go for a 5, 6. So it's
Oh.
not a total. What were your actual individual numbers?
4 and 6.
Oh yeah, so we both did the same thing.
Yeah, you all remember exactly the same thing. And yeah, actually, if you got a 6, yeah, that's what you remember.
Cool.
Otherwise, if you rolled 4 or 5, you would just remember that you've heard stories about bands of churners with prodigiously strong legs.
It's really just magic. It really actually is little mini trampolines, which I'm down for.
Yeah, pretty much. And now that you've gotten closer, you can also tell that there is a smaller camp that is set up on the outer edges. It looks like there are... you've seen combat-capable people before, and these are definitely people who are prepared for combat. Like, they have weapons that are well cared for. They are traveling light. You can tell that a couple of them have spyglasses. They're all kind of tending to their own equipment and preparing for the day ahead of them. And they're set up kind of on the periphery, on like the near edge of the Turner camp, the Stonebreaker camp. Otherwise, I think that's all that I had noted to say. Yeah.
Are the people with the spyglasses looking at us?
They're not looking at you.
Okay.
They are... give me a sense.
I see nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, you can't really tell anything. They look busy and like they are concentrating, and that's all that you can see.
Are there any mounts here? Horses, personal dirigibles, anything that they might use for hot pursuit when they find us out?
Yes, there are. You can tell that on kind of the far edge to the north, so the furthest away from the ruins, there is a set of like makeshift stables that have been set up that have various horses and other beasts of burden, some like donkeys and stuff. And that's where they've also got some of their carts, the ones that aren't being used, stored. And there are here and there, people have tied up their horses, not in like the central area, but in kind of the various subsidiary satellite camps. Here and there, people have a horse, but for the most part, there is the stable area is where the animals are.
Well, I suppose we just wander in. Doesn't seem like they have guards.
Yeah. So as you wander in, there is a glint in the air. You can see that, as you're walking in, one of the you can see a shadow go up into the sky, and then there is like a glint in the sky as it kind of crests and peaks about 100 feet above you, and then it starts falling down towards you all. You can see that it's coming down. coming down right towards you all.
Yeah, we're gonna dodge out of the way of that mess.
Okay.
Also
How are you all
readying
dodging?
Atlas.
Or you can stand there and whack him in the face.
Yeah.
Oh.
This
okay.
sounds
Okay.
this sounds like what Tally was telling us about.
Frog-sized tennis.
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone except Leos is dodging to the side. Leos, you are standing tall, standing your ground.
Yep. Holding out Atlas.
Okay. Give me an action roll, everybody. Whichever variety you prefer.
I'm gonna be acrobatic.
So I did endure because, if the land is probably gonna do stuff, right? Anyways, so I got a 6, 5, and a 5.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. So you got a 6, so that is a full success. Everybody else?
I got a 5.
Okay. And
I got a 4.
okay. So, as you all, you see the figure in the sky come crashing down, everyone except for Leos stands, dodges to the side, and Leos stands tall with Atlas held out. The figure strikes Leos's, that you can see that as the figure is coming down, the glinting and the sparkling that you were seeing is actually from their hand. There's a split-second image that you can see of a gauntlet that is crackling with lightning and magical energy, and that they are kind of posed so that the glove would be striking the ground first. And as they're coming down, instead of hitting the ground first, it hits Atlas first. They are coming down. They don't have control over where they're landing, and where they're landing is on Atlas. So there is an enormous flash of light as the gauntlet strikes Atlas. There is this enormous rending crack that sounds out, and instead of the tremors that you've been feeling, this feels more like a single, just like the world itself kind of like pulsed for a second. And once the light fades, you can all see that there's a crater that is kind of formed around where the grass has been blasted away from Leos and Atlas, and you can see that there is a figure that is kind of lying on the ground. It was also thrown back away from Leos, and you can see that it is a. It is a rabbit folk who no, not a rabbit folk. Who do I want it to be? It's a dog folk who is picking himself up from the ground, and just like wincing and looking at you all. Everybody take 1 strain from the having to like dodge and not it was quick second where you all had to dodge and you wouldn't have a chance to see like where you all were landing or what you were jumping onto, just jumping out of the way. And you can see the dog folk pulls himself to his feet and looks at you all. What are you all? You're standing in the demolition zone. Didn't you see the markings? And wait, where are the markings? Joe, you didn't set up the markings. We got people here. And he looks back. He's like, listen, I am so sorry. And he walks over to Leos and he's kind of like patting the weapon and Leos on the shoulder. Like, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
Very impressive. That very impressive. And he's just kind of looking around, like he's looking like mortified, like, oh, this is bad.
Chia is suppressing the urge to write about how Atlas withstood this blast with no visible damage. Suppressed.
Yeah, there's
is thinking
not a
about
scratch.
it though actively.
Yeah, there is not a scratch on Atlas. Leos, you just took like an earthquake blow, like head on, and it didn't even touch you. What's Leos thinking right now?
Holy shit, I'm not dead. It's just another day. You know, live 200 years already. You got like was old Uncle Jerry lived 550. Yeah, you still got like 300 years to go. Yeah, I'm still good. Still good.
You can see that the guy, the dog folk is he's going to each of you in turn. He goes up to Chia and he's just like, hey, like, you're good. Oh, and it goes up to Kenzo.
Oh no, I have already rushed over to Morven's. Oh my god, look how terribly he's wounded. Oh god, I'm bleeding on the inside. It's fully playing this up because this is an in for us to be the passersby who are badly wounded. Oh no, do you think it'll make it? Just look at him. He was so beautiful just this morning. You blew his fur clean off.
Yes. My fur was blown clean off. How?
Oh no, don't try to talk. Don't try to talk. Don't worry. If you don't make it, I'll let your family know.
You can see that he has a shocked look on his face. He's just like,
Yes, he and his spouse just had 2, I don't know, kits or pups or whatever they're called. It's terrible. Out here adventuring, trying to make a way for a young family, only to be attacked.
Sounds like y'all are trying to charm this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, 1-6.
Nice. He he looks at between the two of you. You can see that there's like he's looking at Morven's kind of his shoulder, his burns on his shoulder, and he's looking at the all of the like dust that's in his fur now, and looking at Kenzo and just he looks like somebody who realized like, oh, I just rear-ended somebody on the highway and I don't have insurance. Yeah,
He looks over at Chia. Chia's rolling her eyes. I'm like, oh my god, look at her. She's rolling her eyes. She probably has brain trauma.
You can see his tail is just like between his legs fully. He's kind of like hunching over now. Okay, listen, y'all are gonna be fine. Listen, you all come with me. We're gonna take you over, and and he takes some red dust, a small pouch, and he starts throwing some red dust around onto the ground. I'm gonna put down some of the markings. Listen, so that if you see anywhere on the ground that has red dust on it, just don't go. Just stay away. Don't walk near there. That's where we're doing excavation. Don't go there. But come with me. Let's go get you patched up. Everything will be fine. You're gonna be okay.
Oh, thank you so much. I know it wasn't your fault. You were just doing your job.
Yeah. It's listen, I was training for a long time to get to be a breaker, and this was, one of the first launches that I got to go on. So just, let's go.
Sure.
And he's walking ahead of you. He's leading you, over towards, the central camp area. You can see that, all the tents that you're passing by, people have it looks like people have embroidered like scenes from some of the ruins that this Cherner band has excavated before. Like you can, like, some of them are, you know, more famous well-known relics, not relics, ruins. Others look like they were just kind of starter ruins, you know, like, oh, one building thrust its way up to the surface, and like there were a couple monster dogs in there, and then somebody was like, I took out the, you know, I saved the town. But, you know, as you get closer to the center, you can see that the, you know, some of the scenes that people have depicted are, you know, much more accomplished ones. You can see that there's well kept for weapons leaning up on stands outside of tents. People have chests, you know, visible through the flaps in the tents. He's taking you over towards a tent that is set up with the flaps are drawn up so that people can come in and out to the cots that are set up, and he brings you over to a pretty busy looking Thrin who is standing or sitting at a desk. Or no, not sitting at a desk. Is tending to someone else, to another dogfolk who is on a cot and is cradling their arm. And as you're walking up, she's saying, listen, you have to remember your training. The glove strikes the ground first. The magic only works if the glove strikes the ground first. You're gonna remember that, right? And you can see the dogfolk is nodding. He's just like, yes. Okay. Just remember, you're gonna be seeing me again if you don't remember. Remember. And she turns over and like, okay, how many launch accidents in your group?
By incident or by victim? 1 incident, 5 victims. 4 victims.
5?
3 really, because Leos is invulnerable. So really 3 victims.
I am looking for... Need a name. I don't have a name. You can see that the person looks over at the dogfolk who brought. Okay, Hank, today was your first launch, huh? And he's like, yeah. And you hurt 5 people in one launch. Yeah.
It wasn't Hank's fault. Someone neglected to mark the target area.
I see. Okay.
In fact, Hank did everything he could to prevent disaster.
Okay. We'll make sure that the right people hear about this lapse. Come over here. She gestures you over to a table. She takes a look at you all. You know. Looks like just some singe, some burns. Looks like squint a little bit. You know, the spots in your eyes will clear up after a while. She's just kind of going through, like, she's not even really looking at you all. She just knows the kind of injuries that you might have. And she's giving each of you almost the exact same pattern as she's looking over you.
As if this has happened before.
Yeah. As if this happens. This is like not even the 5th time this has happened this morning. Okay. Listen, you all are gonna be fine. Hank, stay here. We're gonna talk. You're gonna tell me about who wasn't marking off the excavation site. The rest of you all, I whatever. She just like doesn't even like say goodbye to you. She just goes back to another group of patients that has just come in.
Well, I guess we're on our own. Is it clear that they're trying to excavate, like, particularly deep? Or are they literally just hopping around breaking up rocks?
They're hopping around breaking up rocks. You can see that there are a couple spots where they seem to be concentrating on the high spots around them. So kind of like, it looks like they're leveling the land almost.
Hey. What's all that for anyway?
She looks up from her the patient. She's like, I mean, did they not? Oh,
No, we
y'all
literally just
are-
walked in
okay.
and then boom and then smack and yeah.
Oh, well, let me tell you. Koya, and she kind of gestures her head over towards the center of the camp. Koya has this grand idea that she wants to start a Gilder City. Whatever. You know, she's gotten ideas like this before, but you know, she seems pretty keen on this. She said something about, you know, this is the big break, this is the big opportunity. I don't know, but you know, let me tell you, we're not usually jumping around all this much. The last place we were at, you know, we had to mostly just needed to build some fortifications against some you know, hawk beasts that came in out of an eyrie. It was pretty nasty, actually.
That was Seven Spires, right?
Yeah,
I was at
exactly.
Seven Spires.
Oh, you were?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we were
I was
there.
mostly dealing with the stalking statues, but I mean, good for you guys for handling the hog beasts.
Yeah. Yeah, those statues. Yeah, if you were part of that team, you did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, so usually we get enough rock to build some fortifications and protect ourselves, but seems like Koya wants to settle down here.
Oh, cool.
I've never known her to ever want to settle down, but
So you're
seems
building
like
a tower right up against the head that probably eventually is going to become superheated and destroy it?
yeah, so I mean, we built all of that before that all happened. Yeah, so
Maybe Koya might want to know how that happened.
oh, do you know something about how that happened?
I mean, we were there.
Have you been talking? I mean, we heard from the overgrowers that you know, they said that there was some band of busybodies poking their nose around.
I mean, that's what they would say, right? Anyone but them is a busybody. No, I mean, we know exactly what happened. It's quite an interesting
do?
tale, in fact. We were right there.
Oh, wait, did you do it?
Well, there's a fine line between doing something and being part of a chain of events that result in something happening. Sometimes hard to tell when powerful ancient magic is involved. I mean, who could have guessed that befriending a wall could result in the activation of some ancient device?
Okay.
Which, by the way, extends far beneath your feet and you might be potentially damaging or otherwise interfering with your excavations. But I'm sure it's fine.
Okay, come with me. Come with me. She gestures you. Or what she says. I'm gonna take you all to meet Koya.
Yes.
Because it sounds like you have some information that she needs to hear.
I think so.
Okay. So, as she brings you all deeper into the camp, you come towards, you're passing by even more ornate tents. And when I say tents, I mean, like, imagine if you built like an RV or like a small cottage out of, you know, a portable material, like, you know, and even more elaborate than like a yurt or something like that, like a semi-permanent but still movable structure that are like, some of them have multiple floors near the center, and you can tell that the embroidery and the different artifacts and stuff that are strewn around, like strange lanterns hanging from the corners, streamers that are blowing in the wind that doesn't exist. You can see that there are you know, small little plays of light on the side of some of them that seem to be coming, you know, playing in tune to music that's playing from you can't even tell where. And the largest tent that you come to is this enormous structure, single story, but huge. It goes up like 15 feet tall ceilings in the air, with an open flap. And you can, as you come in, you can see that there's kind of a central kind of courtroom area, not like law courtroom, more of like a throne receiving room kind of deal. And there is a tall Throg sitting on a throne that is at the far end. They have let me get my description. Not Tally, not Oxum, not Pura, Koya. It's a Throg who has pale blue skin. They're dressed in a loosely flowing robe that is made of multicolored silks, in no kind of like an anti-pattern almost. Like it's just chaos incarnate in patches of multicolored silks. And you can tell that she's wearing ornately decorated gloves. You've seen similar gloves on most of the people you've been passing in the central areas. It's like a metal kind of lacework that goes over the hands. But you can tell that hers are larger. You haven't seen anyone else wearing ones as large as this, and they're kind of embellished and filigreed with some lighter, more precious metal. But it looks for being larger, it looks no less nimble. And you can tell that when she moves her hand, as she is moving, like looking at papers and on a side table, and picking up a glass of water to drink, you can tell that like it's crackling almost with etheric energy. And she is not really paying attention to anyone at all until you come into the room, escorted by the doctor.
How tall is she?
She is pretty tall. She's got about looks like she's got maybe about a foot on you.
Gasper. Leos's baby. As we approach, Tia does her best to burp loudly, but it's a very quiet burp.
Okay. And she is like, as you burp. How about give me a feels like an action.
That's got to be a smash.
Chia smash.
Chia smash. I assume it's some kind of charm.
It's up to you what you want to roll with. If it would be charm,
I've studied the way of the burp.
Yeah, I think that probably like you would be drawing on your training and your knowledge from your downtime, and you're trying to like give a good first impression, I'm imagining, and so if you roll well, you're gonna be like you'll pass with flying colors. They'll not suspect a thing. If you don't roll well here, I don't think they're gonna immediately clock you as a chronicler, but they're gonna be able to tell that you're not what you seem.
Yeah. So, drawing on the knowledge, is that the study, or should I just go with charm anyway?
It's up to you. So if you wanted to do it with study,
up all night reading pamphlets on burping.
Yeah, exactly. How do you say it? The diaphragm is very involved. There's a whole little a section in the journal. I got a 5.
Okay. I'm going to.
you burp and then you immediately get the hiccups.
I think it's probably something about the timing. Like you walk into a clearly an important place of like this is the leader's pavilion, and you're like the first thing you do is give out like a kind of like well-timed belch. Like it's a little bit you're not immediately raising any suspicions, but you can tell that a couple people around the room, like there's some flurry of activity of just like some minor functionaries are going about their business, scheduling and all that kind of stuff. Like the couple people are like, wait, what? They're just, but yeah.
Chia, how gauche.
Is anyone else doing anything as you enter?
Can Leo just walk all the way up to where Her Highness is and just kneel down, grab the hand, and go, "How is me lady doing?"
Yes, you can do that. She doesn't look so as you're approaching, she had been kind of like in a whispered conversation with the doctor who had gone straight to her as she came in. She looks up from that conversation right as you're kneeling down and you're reaching for her hand, and you can see that like you're grabbing the like the ornately wrought glove that's on her hand. How are you approaching this? What kind of a action skill do you think you want to try with this?
I mean, it's smash, but it's a different kind of smash.
Sorry?
I said sure.
Okay, so you're coming at this. You're coming at this with? I feel like that's. That feels.
I feel like it's charm, actually.
Yeah,
So.
it feels like a charm. If you want to approach it with smash, I'm gonna say that it's gonna be really hard to be forceful and direct and like just really go for it, grabbing it, and also be charismatic here. So like this is probably not gonna work if you approach it with smash. It is completely up to you.
Smash comes later.
Yeah, I'll do it with charm.
Okay.
So one box is one die, right?
Yeah.
One fancy little die.
And we do have, I think, boons and banes left over if you wish to use them.
Yeah. Major and 2 minors.
So what can I use to make a 3 better?
So if you want to add a d6, you could use that major boon.
Or just use a minor boon to raise it by 1 or something. What did you say minor boons were? That was the increasing or decreasing effect, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So is that what you want to do?
To increase it by 1?
So you could add another d6 to your roll if you use the major bane or major boon.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead and roll it.
And then fancy die. It just wants me to get a 3.
Or you could push it, right?
Oh yeah, you can also push it.
Which is spend 1 effort and add a die.
Okay. I will also push it.
You should. Push it real good.
Come on. Oh, come on.
Your dice always hate you.
Yeah. So when you push it, you spend effort, right?
1 effort.
You spend 1 effort. Was that another 3?
No, that was a 1.
Okay. There's not a crit fail, so that is fine. That's just a regular failure.
So your highest is a 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, you tried. It was a valiant effort.
Yeah.
She looks at you, grabbing her hand, and she is like incredulous at first. Like she can't really believe what you're doing. No, stop. No, what are you doing? And she pulls her hand away. What are you doing? Is this who you brought to me?
I apologize, milady. My friends have no chill.
I would say so.
Leos
please...
is simply stunned by your beauty and reputation. As are we all,
not
I'm
the
sure.
First. But okay, listen. I don't recognize you.
Oh yeah, we're new.
Yeah, don't do that. ever again.
Sure.
My friend here tells me that you have some incredibly valuable information. Otherwise, I would strike you down where you stand. You all are on thin ice. What do you have for me?
Well, shall we start at the end and work backward? So we were coming to investigate and see if we were could be of any assistance to this camp when one of your excavators accidentally attacked Leo's, who, by the way, and then very florid, poetic but accurate description of how that went down, with like Leo standing there taking the blow, craters surrounding them, not a hair out of place, because that would be, you know, just to talk up Leo's a little bit. And anyway, oh, right, with the head and the whole glowing thing. So, and then I will give a very abbreviated version, kind of skipping some of the details. Just say, well, you know, we were doing what we do. And went in, and there was some stuff, and we made friends with the wall, and clearly what was required was our vast magical expertise to communicate with the device. And it came on. And I will hint at a larger mechanism, a network of mechanisms.
Okay.
We spoke to a cat by the name of Tally,
Oh, right.
who mentioned that you had gone into the central ruin. Were any of your people inside when we were involved with the head exploding? Was anybody hurt?
Yes. She had been she wasn't taking notes, she was just looking at all of you. You know, she was clearly listening, but she was dividing her attention along all of you, trying to see like how are you all reacting? What are you all?
She was staring at Leos, right?
I would say it was maybe like instead of evenly, a little bit more on Leos than on everybody else. Like Leos was definitely capturing her attention.
And I probably embellished a little bit with like the centipede battle. And Leo swung Atlas, the blade of legend, frightening away the giant toad creature that could not withstand, and, you know, scattering cavern crawlers before them, leaping across gaps, painting Leos as a big giant Indiana Jones / Lara Croft.
Yeah. Okay. The cat folk that you mentioned, is that him? And she kind of points over to a corner where there is a kind of wriggling cocoon of rope almost that is in the corner, and you can see that it's kind of slightly moving, and there's a tail that's poking out of it. That you can't hear anything, but it's just kind of like moving around.
Did he tell you that he saw great potential in you, and that your path to success was to race to the center? Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, he told that to everyone in camp.
Yeah. Exactly. It's the same person.
This is the third time that we've captured him. I don't know how he keeps getting
We
loose.
told him not to go back. Oh.
Like he'll probably lose track of him in half an hour anyway. Yeah. Well, yes, we have been trying to find a way into the ruins. From the sounds of it, you went into one of the heads and you were exploring in there. Have you all tried going into the center yet at all?
No. It seems likely that there is some sort of barrier. We haven't been, but some sort of barrier or defense that must be deactivated, as is usually the case. And it probably involves coordinating the activation of all four of the primary heads.
Yeah. So, no harm in telling you all. We have mapped out a way through the earthworks. And she stands up from the throne, and her full height. You can tell that she has some like plain sandals on. So like even not wearing any like large footwear or anything, she is towering over all of you. And she strides confidently across the room to a side table where they have someone has been sketching a map of the area. And you can see that they've drawn out the concentric rings, and there's it's like someone has been trying to like a puzzle or a labyrinth almost have been trying to like trace out a way through. We have been sending teams in. It seems that there are a few correct ways to approach the center and many incorrect ways. It's pretty easy to tell if you're going the wrong way. The winds start up, and they start eventually. The closer you get to the center, the stronger they get. And but we've found a couple. We found some ways into the center. We have found. We think we know how to open the structure in the center. I'm telling you this because anyone with eyes could have seen our scout parties going in and out. So it's no harm to tell you all that. We want to find a way down. And she looks over toward the doctor. If she brought you over here, then I'm sure that she is trying to get you to convince me to not go in. But let me tell you, this is going to be the site of a grand city. And all I have to do is get in there and figure out what's down there, and be the first person to establish themselves here. So, hey, listen, you all. The information you have, I would really appreciate if you could tell us everything that you know.
Well,
You said something about activating the heads. Tell us more.
Well, I mean, we can tell you, but I'm not sure it will do you much good. It requires particular talents that Chia and myself possess. Well, one has to be able to speak to the stone in a very particular way and befriend it. And we know what's down there. Almost limitless destructive power.
Good. That's good. Okay.
Is it?
Well, she walks over towards Leos. So the other two, they can talk to stone. How about you? What can you tell me about the head lighting up like a lantern?
Me?
Yeah.
I just heard them thumping in the walls. Sounded like there was something on the other side.
On the other side. On the other side of what? And she kind of turns around fast, and she's looking at Morvins. And she's kind of like bending over to look at him down near the ground. Tell me, how... your friend mentioned that you think you have to activate all of the heads to get into the center. Do you agree with that conclusion?
It seems very likely, although I'm not sure that our presence activated the heads. There were some Lapin folk inside the ruins before we arrived.
Oh, okay.
It is possible they may have done something that we didn't know. that simply allowed us to then interact with the stuff. Who knows?
Do you know who they were working with? Were they with Pura, or were they independent?
They were locals who had. This was their first expedition, in fact.
Yeah, just some kids.
Oh.
It's unlikely that they did anything other than get eaten by centipedes. But it's possible. You never know. One would have to investigate a pristine environment to be able to be certain.
She walks back over to the throne and sits down in it. She looks around all of you. So, So you came from the east, if you were injured by Hank's party. Tell me, what did the Bookers send you to find out?
They didn't really send us so much as bored us to death with yammering on about things and scolding, and then something about how, oh, great power and only we can possibly blah 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 blah. I tuned most of that out.
And I almost burned down their library somehow.
Yes, Leos almost burned down their entire library. It was most amusing.
Oh. Huh. Well, it sounds like they were trying to, get you to be their errand paws.
Well, they did say something about how they've been sending a bunch of people over here, and that you had said that stop that. That's really annoying, which I can completely understand. But then again, they're scribblers after all, so what do you expect? No, but it was more of the same thing about how, oh, the world will end and only we are equipped to understand the mysteries or whatever. And it's like, well, you didn't know any more about it than we did. Actually, we knew more about it than you. So it's just more of the typical scribbler nonsense, as far as we can tell.
Okay. So you all... I presume she told you that we had told her to stop meddling.
Yeah.
And then you decided you were going to come right from the Booker camp over here to see us, even though we definitely told them all to stop sending... I mean, you understand what I'm getting at here.
No, we don't work for them. And we came here not to meddle, but to share information with you.
As we told you, we believe that all 4 heads have to be activated at the same time. Yours is the closest camp to one of those heads.
Yes.
We need your help.
And you might need ours.
So you want access to the head, if I understand it.
Maybe, I don't know. I look, we thought this was just a normal situation. I mean, granted, a large find, but nothing's super unusual any more than any others are. I mean, nothing like the Seven Spires, right? And then we just, the first time that we went in for a little bit of delving, came across something rather unique. And now it seems like everyone's all uppity about it.
It seems to me that your city cannot be built until the matter of the ruin is settled one way or the other.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we need control. And that is what we are building. We are building control. I'm sure you've seen the tower. It's going to be the finest watchtower in within a league.
Well, yes, but it's right up against the head, right?
Yes, but I mean...
Then what happens if the head is activated?
Well, I mean, we saw what happened with the head. It was just, some light that shot up.
Oh, no. It was glowing hot.
Oh.
Enough to crack the stone.
Perhaps, instead of control, what you actually need is information.
You've already shared a lot of information. Am I correct in assuming that whatever you want next is not going to come free? Or whatever you offer next is not going to come free?
Well, I think if there were an offer on the table, we would certainly consider it.
She looks over towards Chia. You've been a little bit quiet.
Is that so?
She is half drunk.
She probably has a pretty bad hangover, not gonna lie.
Tell me, what do you think? Do you also agree? You think the heads need to be activated?
Let me give that a study, actually, because I'm not actually sure if Chia has analyzed whether they all need to be activated or not to gain entrance. Because it seemed to me like when we did it, it could have, like, it had a path leading to a different head, but also was connected to the main one. So either they don't have to be activated, or something weird happens. I guess. I don't know. I got a 5 on the study.
Okay. I think that what you could glean from a mixed success there is that activating the heads is important for something. You know, what the right, you know, whether there's order to it, whether there is timing to it, you can't say. But clearly something has to be done with the heads to resolve this. To resolve whatever the purpose of this structure is.
Yeah, that's congruent. That seems like the kind of thing you need to do, yes.
Okay. How about this? I can give you access to the head that we have here. What I want you to do is and she like you know, I'm pausing because I'm, you know, I as a person am suddenly blanking. I'm looking at my list of her priorities and trying to figure out which one is better. Okay, I'll give you access to the heads if you open up the doors in the center of the ruin. And she stands up again and briskly walks over to the table with the map. We, as I told you, we have figured out a safe route to get to the doors. We don't know how to open them. If you can figure out a way to open them, then I think that we could give you some escort and some observed time in the head, and maybe we can figure out what is going on here together.
Is there like a pillar or some other thing in the center that has 4 faces, that has like an area where parallel beams of energy might strike, and if they were struck from all 4 faces, it might open the doors?
No, nothing like that. And as you're saying this, there is a scout. You see that somebody else enters the tent. They are it is a frog folk who kind of comes like half jumping, half walking in, and he is carrying an enormous roll of paper on him. And Koya looks away from you all and says, "Well, here, I believe this will shed some more information." She beckons the fog folk over, and he hands over the scroll that he had been carrying. I had one of our scouts sketch an image of what it looked like, what the outside of the square looked like, and he just got back. She rolls it open, and you can see that there's a couple different, very kind of like plainly illustrated drawings of the outer sides of this enormous structure that looks like it has smooth, featureless walls. He's drawn he's drawn a couple small figures, a Throg and a Thrin, and a few different beast folk to the side for scale. So it looks like the scale of what he's drawn is maybe about 100 feet on a side, and there is a very large door in the center of each face that is whatchamacallit, maybe about 20 feet tall and 20 feet wide, and there's a note by each of them is labeled by which way it was facing, and by the southern one you can see that he's written a note that says that the whole wall was warm to the touch.
Yeah, from the I-beams. So we presume that it isn't a defensive mechanism because it points in instead of out. The most logical, although rather simple, but the most logical assumption is that if one can master the mechanism to activate all 4 beams at once, that should be sufficient to unlock it. Or make the central tower build hot.
I mean, unless the beams were positioned in a way to keep something that's dangerous from going out.
It could 100% be a way of, it could be a prison, and the beams could be designed to destroy whatever massive, evil, powerful thing if it tries to escape. Either way, it's a useful thing to be able to master. All of which is a long way of saying mastering the external mechanism seems to be a prerequisite for safely mastering the internal mechanism.
While this deal is useful to us, it seems to me that it is also useful to you. Perhaps you could throw in something extra for us. I would like access to your city after it's been built. Trade rights and the like.
You have the mark of a churner around you. You're the heir of a churner. Which group are you with?
Oh, I'm from the Tall Mangrove group.
But he's now with the Undertakers.
And now with the Undertakers.
Of the Undertakers. I see.
That's us. You probably haven't heard of us. We try to keep ourselves,
No, I've never heard of you.
Yeah.
We're very dangerous drivers.
Yes.
The mangroves. I see. You're right. Okay. Yeah. Citizenship for you all. Open access. If you can figure out, I will give you all a writ of sale, denoting that you all are allowed to barter and trade and bring goods in tariff-free.
Lovely.
How does that sound? But only once we gain control of the ruins.
Of course.
Chia, Leos?
Chia makes a non-committal shrug because she absolutely hates this, but she isn't going to say anything.
Leos is just staring with squee eyes.
Yes.
Little beating hearts.
They were talking about too much information for Leos to handle. Just, you know, contemplating if I almost set the library on fire. Is it possible to set this tent on fire, but also not doing it? Just kind of looking around, thinking about it.
You definitely can see that it looks like they've taken precautions to keep the different like braziers and things with like clean airflow and all that stuff, but still it's a tent. It is a temporary structure. You could easily you can see like it's like lighting up in neon light, like, oh yeah, if I did that, like there, it would go up and over there and the whole place would be ablaze. You can see that Koya, as she's she's talking to Morvins, and she turns around, and she stalks towards Leos, and then she kind of reaches over and is like looking at Leos, down at Leos in the face, in the eyes, like very intently. And she just doesn't say anything and walks back to her chair.
Leos leans in for a kiss.
Leos is like, matter, sorry.
I sense potential in you all. Sounds like you have some experience with these ruins. And if you can help me, then I think that we can come to a very profitable relationship here.
Yes. Oh. One more thing. Come here.
Are you gesturing to her?
Yeah.
Or she doesn't move. She gestures to you to come forward.
So, if the scribblers want you to stop meddling in the middle, and if we're going to activate the exterior thing, which is going to make the middle potentially a dangerous place, what if, because you're going to have to pull back, like you're going to want to not have your scouts standing right there when it all goes off, right? So what if we send them a message to say, oh, they've decided not to be in the middle anymore. And then they go, oh, ha, our evil plans have succeeded, and we're going to go to the middle. And then they're in the middle when it all goes off.
She ponders this for a minute. I like it. So what are you're going to go. You're going to tell them that you managed to convince us that we need to hold off on exploration of the ruins.
Or you could send someone, but we could go. Because they control a head too. So I wonder if what we couldn't do is tell them we've convinced you. And then there's something we need to do that involves it. It's getting complicated. I think it's probably better if you send you could send, we could kill two birds. I mean, not kill, but you know what I'm saying? We could deal with two problems at once. We could get rid of the cat by sending the cat to go give them the message. And then they'll be like, aha, we knew that we were superior all along. And then they'll go and be there. And then if anything bad happens, well, and if nothing bad happens, you'll have people nearby.
Yeah, I'm actually going to use a minor bane. She looks over to the corner where Tally was, and Tally is definitely already gone. Wow. You can see that there are some shredded ropes on the ground in the corner where he had been wriggling. Looks like she might find out regardless, depending on how much you overheard.
Well, we were being super sotto voce, so they didn't hear this part.
Yeah. Okay. We could maybe send someone over that way and tell them that we've reconsidered for now. I don't know that she'll believe that we've given up entirely. I wouldn't. But maybe a ceasefire we could negotiate. Okay. And meanwhile, you all are gonna go back and explore the head that's at their camp?
Or the one here. Doesn't really matter. We can. We're pretty sure we could activate any of them from any place. It doesn't have to be the kind of thing where we have to be in the head that we're trying to activate.
I see. Okay. Okay.
And here we would have people to help us get out before we get scorched.
Yes.
Perhaps we could test on the overgrowth's head first. Go into this head and try to activate that one.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to start activating heads, we should be prepared to activate all of them. There might be some sort of like recharge time, or you know how some of these things work. Because the beam from the other one isn't still going. So we just have to hope that it's been long enough that it can reactivate.
All right. If we can, we activate them all at the same time, and then we head directly to the inner temple before any other faction realizes what's going on.
Unless it's a terrible idea and something horrible happens, in which case other people can deal with it.
Okay. We have a deal.
All right. Well, we'll go and talk amongst ourselves and come up with a plan.
Okay.
She
I
is
have
very
other matters
smart, and
to
when
attend
she
to.
sobers up, she'll probably have some great ideas.
Well, I have many other matters to attend to. So I'm sure you all can show yourselves out.
Sure. A tent or something wouldn't go unappreciated?
I think we can find some place for you.
All right.
It's the least we could do for the injuries that we gave you.
Yes. Speaking of which, maybe we could borrow the doctor.
Oh, sure. Yes.
All right. So we'll step outside, and as we're waiting for the doctor to come up. So, Chia, by the way, the doctor is clearly someone who can be convinced to, you know, the mission
Stop this. And also stop our most ridiculous, super dangerous plan that you were just talking about. Like
Right.
the most dangerous, dumb plan I ever heard in my
Right, I
life.
know.
Oh my God. I can't believe you promised me to do any of that.
Who knows? We'll see.
You know, if we remote activate the head that's over by the overgrowth, anyone stuck inside of it will get a superheated death, right?
Yeah, we
So
probably
have to go tell them.
Yeah, we probably have to make sure people are notified.
Yeah, like this is a head notification
So
kind of situation.
what I suspect is that we need to recruit the doctor to help the doctor understand that what we're trying to do is we're trying to actually stop the whole thing in the middle. That we think that if we activate it, it's going to make the middle so hot that no one can get in for 1,000 years and this whole thing is going to sink into the ground, which might be true, who knows. But that we also don't want to create a war between all the different factions. So the doctor has to warn not only the Scribblers, but also the Legio.
We weren't making a war because it sounds kind of like we're weird spies between like 3 different sides.
That was the Scribblers' idea. They're the ones that started that whole thing. And if we're going to be in it, we're going to be in it, Chia.
In it, right.
And if you want us to be double agents, we're going to be quadruple agents. This is how we roll. We are the Undertakers.
Quadruple agents? What's the 4th group?
Us.
Oh, can we really be agents of ourselves?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who? If you can't be agents for yourselves, then who can be?
Exactly.
if we're
anyway,
going to be warning anybody, we ought to warn the minor camps as well.
yeah, or just like get word around.
And,
If only there was some.
And as means worst case scenario, you know, we just take commander lady from over there and the other lady from over there, and then we'll be fine.
Wait, are you suggesting kidnapping?
Maybe.
Yeah, that gets real complicated real quick. We'll keep it on the back burner. So, but yes, I agree. We need to warn the Nestio, the capitalists up north, and the socialists off to the east. And obviously, we're with the bourgeoisie here. Well, I guess these are the proletariat, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, maybe like petty bourgeois.
Yeah, okay. So, we're not trying to cause a revolution for once. So, yeah. But the doctor wants the whole thing stopped. So the doctor is the best person to go and to convince the other people to like watch out and be careful. And then if the thing, when we activate it all, and if the thing in the center opens up and it's open and it's whatever, it's a free for all, let the best man win.
Well, that's a big if too, because are we sure we can recreate what we did?
Absolutely. Between you and I, absolutely. Well, between the four of us, it's going to take all four of us.
Morvins and Leos, how do you both feel about all this?
I think the wheels are going to come off. But I would rather go along with Kento and Chia than lose their friendship. It's important to be dependable.
Okay. So what happens next? You're kind of all congregated in a quiet spot. You know, you're behind some of the other like high-ranking tents. You're near the commander's tent. You're having this kind of huddled conversation as you're waiting for. Well, I don't know what you're waiting for.
Waiting for the doctor to come.
Oh, okay. After your couple minutes of your conversation, you're kicking around for a little bit. You finally see the doctor come out. She looks preoccupied and a little concerned as she is, kind of walking, briskly out and back down the path that she led you on.
Are we good?
I think so.
Okay. Yo, Doc.
Okay, listen. I took you in there to get her to give all this up, and you're...
So, look, here's the deal. Someone needs to go talk to the chroniclers to do two things. One, warn them that the head that their camp near might get hot at some point. So they don't have people in there so they don't get all crisped up. And two, to let them know that she is pulling the scouts back from the middle.
Wait. Okay.
And then also make sure that the Legio camp knows too. Because we don't want people to get fried.
I have known her my whole life. You want me to betray her?
No, it's like literally that was part of the deal that we made, was that we needed to send someone to go talk to, like, go ask her. Like, we specifically said we need someone to go and talk to the chroniclers, and we suggested you as someone with intelligence and knowledge, therefore, that they might respect and trust.
I sure wish heard this from her instead of you, but this is not the
I mean,
first time.
You can go check. You can go ask.
No, I believe you. Okay. Okay, what exactly do I need to go tell them?
Go tell them that she has been convinced to pull her people back from the middle. She's been convinced that the fiddling around with the outer stuff is more important, or is a key to fiddling around with the inner stuff, which, by the way, might be true. We don't know. And that they need to be careful because their head might get hot at some point. So they probably ought to not fiddle around with it. And whatever else they do is entirely up to them. And then you got to make sure that the Legio know as well. So they also don't. They also get out of the head up by where they're camped. And if they don't believe it, they don't believe it. That's on them.
Okay. 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 And you can tell that her, like, she's like looking around, like she's imagining like checklists and lists and things that she'll have to get sorted before she leaves. And okay. Okay. She said to tell you there's an open tent next to the infirmary that she said to set you all up in.
Cool.
Come with me, and then I'll get ready to go take a message to the others. She leads you over. It's back the way you came. The tent that she's showing you is clearly their like overflow tent. They've got a bunch of cots that have some stains and questionable kind of implements strewn around from miscellaneous operations. But she gestures like, okay, well, this is you, and I need to go prepare. And she scurries off, and she's
Good luck.
packing her bags.
Sleep with
So
all
what
your
next?
valuables on you so that cat doesn't steal them.
Yeah, she said that they caught him and then he got away again.
Yeah.
I swear the next time I see that cat, I am going to kill him.
Aw, but he's adorable. Hey, Chia, maybe you should write a note that the doc can take with him.
Right, okay. I can write a note.
Like that note that you got.
Yeah. It's secret message time.
She has no idea what's happening. This whole thing.
I have no idea.
Is a
We're doing
nightmare.
a dumb plan. I think we're going to make it worse, but everything's a ruse, but don't panic. Or do. I don't know. Maybe kidnap the doctor. It's fine.
You might want to move your floating tower library a little bit further away if you care about it.
Nothing wrong with having a bunch of flammable materials next to a big bonfire.
No, I don't think so.
And they were worried about Leo's burning down the tower.
But see, you were doing it by accident. This is definitely intentional. Sort of.
While Chia is writing her notes, I would like to climb the tower.
Okay. So, you make your way over. You can tell that the closer you get to the tower, you can tell that people have been, they're stonebreakers. They've been breaking the stone. It's well packed and flat. It's almost like cobbled road this close. As you get closer to the tower, you can tell that it's like people are really starting to put a lot of effort into making it like easily traversable. As you get to the tower, there are all different kin of all different kinds swarming around, hauling blocks, and there's wagons coming in and sleds carrying large stones, and they're doing some stonework, fitting them into place, mortaring them, building more scaffolding, and building supports and all that kind of stuff. It looks like the entrance, there are a couple laborers who are loitering near the entrance to the stairs. You can see that there's like a central staircase built out of wood that goes up the partially constructed tower as you approach.
Can I see the overgrowth camp from the top of the tower?
So as you, they just they nod you in. They don't really seem to care at all that you wanted to go in. You can kind of see they've gotten the wooden part of the scaffold up about like halfway up the head, and they've got some adventurous soul climbed all the way up and hammered a couple pythons and some lowered a rope down from the very top of the very top of the head. So you can only get about halfway up. And it's definitely all the head, the bulk of the head is in the way of the of seeing the overgrowth camp. So you'll have to go all the way up if you want to.
I will climb, yes.
Okay. That feels like a traverse roll to me.
My highest is a 4.
Okay. As you make your way up, just Badger folk, I guess, are probably not well known for their climbing, so it's a little bit awkward as you're climbing up. But you do manage to make it up. But as you reach the top, you're How do you feel about heights?
I feel very, very scared.
Okay. As you are nearing the top, it seemed like you were okay as long as you were on solid landing of the of the constructed tower, but once you were a little bit climbing the rope, as you make your way up, people have enough people are making their way up. There's a moment of fear, just an anxiety as you kind of crest and get over the top onto the top of the head, and you can tell that this is a Thrin head. You can see that there are enormous stone ears kind of poking out from the sides that you can see from the top. There's kind of a moment where a wave of not motion sickness, but nausea kind of comes over you, and your foot slips a second, and it actually it knocks the python out of the stone where it was hammered in. And you can see that the rope falls and clatters below you. But you are still here at the top of the tower.
So, I am going to observe the camp as I intended to, and then I'm going to stay up here.
Mm-hmm. So what you can see from very far away, maybe not very far, maybe about a mile away, you can see the overgrowth camp. It looks like, from here you can see that it looks circular. Let me get my description. Overgrowth camp. It looks like almost like a bull's, a darts board. There is a central. You can't make out the details, but you can tell that there's kind of a green mass of carts and carriages in the center, and there is this open area around it. It looks like they've got this large swath of open space that surrounds the center of the camp, and you can see like smaller than ants almost, little shadows of people going back and forth in that inner ring. And there is just, you're making out with your eyes, and you can just see that there's a second narrow ring around the outside that people are going, kind of between the edges, just kind of like almost like an inner courtyard in the kind of like outer bullseye ring.
Can I make out whether the activity is mostly heading towards their head or the inner camp? The inner,
So it looks like most of the people, you can't really tell, but you can tell like if they're going to the head or not. They're set far enough away that like you can kind of see most of the camp in a gap between the heads, like the big central head that they're camped near. It's not like completely obstructing the view, but you have to get like, you kind of trying to see between the gaps. You can't really tell if there's a lot of activity going towards the head, but you can tell that there is a lot of activity that's going basically like in every other direction. There are groups coming and going. And from what you know of camps like this, they would have set up like a market area. So you can see that like presumably they have healthy and robust trade for a camp of their type.
Thank you.
So without a way down, would Morvens be trying to get down on his own, or would you just be like what are you doing in this situation?
I am going to make sure that I am in the very center of the head, where I'm furthest away from the edges, and I am going to wait.
Okay. Did you tell anyone that you were going to the tower?
Don't think so.
Okay. So everyone else, it's probably been like half an hour goes by, some more time goes by. However long it would take before y'all would actually start getting worried. Morvens has been gone a while.
Well, he probably wandered off. So pop outside our tent. Hello there. Have you seen a badger?
Passing rabbit folk looks over. He's like, I mean, there's badgers everywhere. There's one over there. Is that who?
Describe.
Yo!
Yeah, okay, yes. Bring another badger over.
Oh.
Gather round. I'll give a accurate description of Morvens.
You've got like a small crowd of badgers. He just keeps calling over badgers. Just like yo, you, get over here. This guy wants to talk to you. Yeah, he wants to talk to you. You got like, a couple dozen badgers after a while all around you, like looking up at you.
Well, if you were him, this is what he looks like. If you were him, where would you go? If you were new in town, and wanted to explore things.
If I was him, I would just go to sleep, or I would go, get some food. I mean, maybe he went to get some food, and you can smell there's, it's getting towards, lunchtime. People are starting to cook their midday meals.
All right, you're probably right. So let's go get lunch. Oh no, he's not here. But let's eat lunch anyway.
Yeah. Morvens, you can also smell the wafting of, bread and cooked meats and some soups that are rising on the breeze.
I have in my pack cooking supplies. I am going to cook myself a beautiful, beautiful stew of apples, because that's all I carry.
All right. And I'm going to say as we come out, we're like, Morvens, where are you? Morvens, I have no idea where he went. He wouldn't have just left. And it's like, is that apple stew on the wind?
Yeah.
We probably spend 30 minutes trying to follow it around because we're looking around, and then eventually someone will notice that up on top of the head there's someone cooking apple stew.
Yeah. you smell like you're wandering around. You happen to go by the tower, and you see that like there's a couple like workers who are like all puzzling over like a rope that's coiled on the ground with a python tied to one end. It's just kind of sitting there, and they're like, I mean, I think Jerry went up there. He drove it in. He usually drives it in harder than that. I don't know how it got knocked out. But it's like something smells really good.
Hey, would you mind reaffixing that so that my friend who's up on the top of the head making a delightful apple stew secret family recipe can get down? He might reward you with a taste of it.
Wait, you said there's somebody up there?
Yeah, look. See the smoke? The smell of roasting apples?
What? You say you know that guy? You know that?
Yes.
You gotta tell him not. This is a construction site. You can't go cooking here.
I don't know. We're weird.
Okay, listen. The guy who's good at climbing, he's not here right now. It'll probably be a couple hours before he's back, but kind of sideways, looking around to see if someone in particular is around. Tell you what, come over here. Listen, I've always wanted to join the Breakers. I've been building my own launch pad. Maybe I could get y'all up there. I've been testing it. I haven't sent anybody up on it, but I think I could send somebody up there. You could hold the rope and like just get up there and pound it in and then put the rope down. We won't have to tell anybody that this happened. And you just say that you climbed up.
Or you could just throw a rope up there.
No, it'll just clatter off. It'll just fall off. Believe me, we tried that.
How much height differences between where we're standing and the top?
Like 50 or 60 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. So Morven's got himself in quite the pickle.
It would only be about a 20-foot drop to get down to the like topmost landing that is like the top part that is currently built of the tower. But that's like a little 10-foot by 10-foot kind of like wooden landing, like not exactly the kind of thing you would want to jump down onto from high up.
But like a ladder would be fine. Like a tall ladder would work just fine.
I mean, we could maybe try and find a ladder.
I'm just saying, your home-built adaptation of ancient magical technology versus a ladder. I think a ladder is probably the safest bet, don't you?
Okay, fine. We can. Okay.
Because wouldn't that, like, if it goes wrong, wouldn't that send someone sailing up into the air to their death, potentially?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, if I could prove that I can build these things, and I
fully support that. I just think that is a separate thing from getting a badger out of a tree.
Okay. I think we've got a ladder. Yeah, we could give us a little bit, and we'll rig you up a ladder.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me know how the experiment with the thing goes.
We could send the ladder up with the launch pad. Some time goes by. You can see that they drag a beam. Like they basically just took like a tall tree and chopped off the limbs, and they are putting some cross pegs in it. And they've enlisted some workers, and they're like hauling it up the tower to the top. Morven's, after a while, how was the stew? Was the stew good?
My cooking is impeccable.
Yeah, it always is.
You hear a thumping and you can see that there is someone is putting a what looks like a very tall log has suddenly kind of poked itself up over the edge of over towards where you are, or like maybe like you're in the center, the very top of the head. You can see that someone has put some kind of log up over to try and get up to where the python was originally struck in.
Oh, hello.
You can come down now.
Is anyone climbing the ladder, or are you all just shouting from below?
I'm suggesting that well, actually, so I'll yell up and then I'll go, I wonder. Because we're up we're right on the head, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if the rock remembers us.
Okay.
So I'll pat it a little bit. Hi there, old friend. Do you remember us? Give us a little bit of a sign if you remember who we are. And do that, like, little sparklies, little bit of, like...
This feels like an Excel.
Not a charm.
Can we offer you a deal, Chev?
Yeah, what's up?
If, as Kenzo is closing his eyes and whispering to this rock, he gets an extra die, could the guy with the amateur launch pad decide now is the time to test it?
Whee!
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So
what I really want to happen is for people to go there to rescue him and then convince the stone to open. Just suck Morven's in. Or to create stairs or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna say. Did we do charm the last time you did this?
Yes.
Or did you do?
I did charm.
Yeah, go for charm. This is a little bit off book, but I like it. Because it's not just like you're not exerting your will on it. You're more trying to
harmonize with the
trying to get it to do what it already wanted to do.
Yes. Well, that's for sure 2 6s.
Okay.
And 2 5s.
Okay. So as you're talking, as you're kind of putting your hand, you're kind of giving your best like start, like it's a freaking you can feel that there is a flicker of, I wouldn't say recognition, but more of acknowledgement. It doesn't, you're not a friend to it. Like it's more like would a mountain recognize an ant kind of a thing. More it's like you are known to the stone. And what you get the sense that what the stone really wants is release. You get the sense that the stone really, really, really wants to do what it was designed to do. And what it's designed to do is shine bright.
Well, we're working on that.
As you're communing, you hear a scream. I'm going to Oopa-doop-a-doo. Oh, he rolled very poorly. You hear a sudden scream, and you feel a whoosh of air, and you see the foreman that you had been talking to earlier. You hear like a whoosh of air as a shadow goes by you as you're standing by the rock at the top of the tower. And he's going straight up.
You guys might want to pull out a tarp to try to catch him when he comes down. Morvens, you should climb down now quickly. Yeah, the rock really wants to do the thing. It was like telling me that all it wants to do is to get all bright and hot and stuff.
Yeah, I overheard. As I've taken the Earth speech.
Oh, excellent.
Thing, so I'm just listening. I can't. I'm not good at holding conversation with Earth or otherwise.
were you just passively listening, or were you actually like probably a
passively
moment.
listening, because this is just an ability to speak and understand something unusual. So I assume if he's communing, I'm just sort of like, oh, I'm picking up on those vibes.
Okay.
Is kind of what's going on.
Kenzo, are you actually trying to get the head to start releasing, or are you just trying to understand what it wants to do?
I don't want it to start because that is going to cook Morvins.
Okay.
And probably light the structure on fire, and also
It-
change our leverage with the deal
Yeah.
we made.
Yeah. I do want to let it know that we're working on it. That it won't have to wait long.
As soon as you communicate that, your whole mind is filled with a sense of anticipation and satisfaction.
See, it makes the rock happy. We're on Team Rock. Forget Team Scribbler or Team Scrabbler. We're on Team Rock.
Even the Great Mountain can cause unexpected problems.
Yeah, that's why it's best to be friends of the Great Mountain.
Okay, no, that's not how it works. It's a force of nature, etc., etc.
Yeah, more powerful than any mortal construction, so it's best to be friends with it.
Yeah, I mean, but also it will crush you.
Yeah, that's why you should be friends with it, so it won't crush you.
No, I don't think it cares though. That's not what the proverb
it does.
is about.
You can tell.
He'll look up back in the air at the guy who's probably on his return arc at some point.
Can they just do something stupid?
Always.
Yes.
So, can Leo's use the jump pad and go after the guy to then use endure to try to like grab and then injure the fall?
Yeah. So let's say that Leos didn't go up the tower with Chia and Kenzo. There's, not quite enough room for the both of them and you on the platform. So, you had a full view of the foreman as he was, tinkering with a very ramshackle looking launch pad. Like, you've seen a couple of the actual launch pads, and they are like ornately created, like really really exotic hardwoods that are inlaid with intricate like inlays of metal carvings, and just like the finest, just like clearly something that's been worked on over generations. And then there's this guy's thing, which is like a couple planks. It looks like a pot lid was used for part of it. It's not so much glowing as it is kind of sparking, and he's standing there and he's like, up, uh-oh, and he shoots up into the air, and you have a split second, so you want to try and use the launch pad as well?
Yes. Follow
Okay.
after to grab and maybe soften his fall.
Okay.
With
So I
my
think that this is going to take more than one roll. So first is going to be actually like using the launch pad, and then we'll do another action to see if you can actually like grab him and safely convey him to like not dying.
Yeah. And no one has taught Leos about mass and inertia, because Leos weighs like 900 pounds. So
Listen, if you just re-triangulate the whole system real quick.
yeah, if you recalibrate it for so what's the roll?
Oh yeah. So the whatever Sin, I imagine is probably Traverse. Although if Sin, if you wanted to do a different roll, that is always your prerogative.
Or study?
I would think Traverse, Tinker, or Excel
Tinker.
would all make sense, because you're trying to do a precise movement-based thing with technology.
Mm-hmm.
Study would also kind of make sense to see if you saw what he did.
Yeah.
I'd probably just do traverse because Leos isn't thinking, just
Literally,
go right
I'm
after.
gonna step
No
on
thinking,
it
just
and
going.
see what happens.
Yeah. head empty, just jump. Okay, roll that traverse.
That is a 6.
Ooh.
You saw, so you've been watching and you've seen not just how he did it, you've seen at this point ample opportunity. You had ample opportunity to see how other people used proper launch pads. And so you get on and tell me how you're doing this.
With the intent to go rescue the guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you get on and you like kick it, and you like position yourself, you Superman pose, and you hit the activation button and it just shoots you up, and you could tell from how he went up that he it's completely misaimed and not shooting where it not throwing where it should be, but you correct for that, and it's you're going up, you have a perfect moment where he's right at the arc, the top of his arc, and he's flailing, he's slowed down by the air, and you are perfectly aerodynamically posed, you're catching up to him right at the top of his arc. What are you gonna do to try and save him here?
Try to grab him and then use Atlas and hope that the fire comes out to soften the blow or something.
Okay, so you're gonna be pointing Atlas down at the ground to try and use a burst of fire to slow your descent.
Yes.
Okay. So what action rating do you think you wanted to use for this?
Endure. To not
Okay.
die by the impact. Impossible fire that comes out of Atlas.
So you've gotten, after all the events of yesterday and your tinkering, you've gotten probably a feel for how to activate Atlas. It's definitely nowhere near its former, its former glory, but you can definitely know how to activate it now. And so you're just gonna try and just endure the flames and the heat and the thrust of it blasting, and hopefully cushion the blow. I'm gonna give you +1 die if you also set. Yeah, I like Twilight's suggestion that the wooden scaffolding will catch on fire, but you'll get +1 die to this roll.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and roll 46.
So there's 1 6, 1 5, 1 3, and 1 2.
Ooh, very good, very good. Go ahead and narrate your daring rescue.
So Leos is up in the air, grabs the guy, their little tail wraps around their body to hold them close to them. So Leos has moose antlers and a thin long tail, because some frogs can have tails. They have horns. Leos's horns are like moose antlers. Anyways, so it wraps around them, and they're just trying to hold the guy in towards them, so they're cocooning them with their body like a normal person, and then Atlas is down, and the fire is probably coming up. So they're like a little flaming arrow, and then it hits the ground and probably craters. I don't know.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so you all as you come back down, the flames are just everywhere. You can feel the backdraft from the fire coming up towards you, but you're powering through it, and you land on the launch pad, like just kind of gently touch down. The launch pad is just completely cinders, but and all the ground for many feet around you is completely scorched and black, but you are both completely fine. The rest of you, let's go back to y'all. So Morvins, you were probably, like, if you were going down the ladder, you would have been maybe not more than like halfway down the ladder. The rest of you all were standing on the landing, and you heard and felt this whoosh go by you, and then a couple beats go by, and another whoosh go by you, and another beat, another couple beats, and then you just enormous blast of heat as a much larger shadow comes rocketing back down. What do you all do?
Roll our eyes. Again.
If the scaffolding is on fire, then I think I'm going to let go of the pegs and slide down the ladder as fast as I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a brief moment where you're all like, Leo's just doing it again, and then you notice, like, oh, it's very hot. Oh, there's smoke over there. Yeah, Morvins, and I think everybody else, to get out of this tower, however you are going to do it, give me an action roll. Unless, if you want to stay in the tower as it burns, that is fine. I just assuming that you all want to get out.
Yeah.
I'm leaving via traversal, because I don't think anything else makes sense.
Yeah, I think I just don't want to be there anymore. So I'm just going to not be there anymore.
Oh, that's great. See you, Kenzo.
I think it's just like, I start to like try to climb and it's like, ugh, seems like a lot of work. So then just arc of lightning bounces off of a couple of different spots and then zip down to the bottom.
And I believe for you, that is just your...
It's just a thing.
That's just your bond power. You get to do it.
Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah, it just does it. So the rest of you all, you hear a crack and you see a spark of electricity fly to the ground, and Kenzo is not there anymore. Chia and Morvins is like sliding down the makeshift ladder, kind of lands on the platform next to Chia. What did you do?
I rolled a traversal.
Okay.
And I got a 2 and another 2, which is practically a crit.
Yeah. Almost a crit, but it's not a crit. I'm gonna say that is gonna be no, Cat, you can't do that. She is making a mess on my desk right now. Ooh. Okay. Sorry, there's a spot that I'm looking for. It's like, oh, failure is typically this much, and this is... I believe it's 3 strain. Yeah, let's just say it's 3 strain. So you are you going down the stairs, or are you trying to like how are you trying to get out of this burning tower?
I might have a solution that may or may not affect how this went, because Chia's probably like, oh, I can just use some magic in order to get us down.
Yeah.
So hold on, and basically attempt some sort of, I don't know, dirt-based feather fall situation.
Okay,
It's easy. It's a precisely maneuvered Excel-based thing. She'll take a little strain. It'll go great. Oh, good. I actually did get a 6. So this is your problem when you didn't expect this to happen when you were falling, or I did something too powerful. But basically, I'm just like, here, I'll use some magic to help us get down. And then something happened with your traversal roll.
Yeah.
We both jump out of the tower hand in hand onto a pillow of dirt, and Chia lands directly in the center, and I land directly not on the dirt.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, here, it's easy. A pillow of dirt, let's go. Let's hop on and...
Like in a Kirby or a Mario game where it's like that pillar of water that is like shooting you up for traversal, but it's dirt.
I imagine Chia just steps forward all masterfully and summons the power of the earth to create this platform and this like sequence of stairs, and then strides down, impressing everyone. And then Morvins comes behind and then just trips and falls down the stairs.
Yeah. So
why did you make the stairs so long, so rounded, with railings to keep me on the whole way down? Well,
Why is the tread so shallow? This is not OSHA compliant.
You need a certain rise in depth for every stair, or it's dangerous.
Well, I was in a hurry. That's my bad. But I did make the stairs move slightly, which I didn't tell you. So it's like an up escalator, actually.
Right.
So you keep rolling.
Just...
Morvins is falling for what feels like hours. So that's going to be, let's say, 3 strain for Morvins, because that's not... I think this feels like more than a risky action, but not quite a desperate action. So 3 feels right. As you finally roll to the ground, Leos, you are there. You're kind of holding your helpless victim that you have saved. Kenzo suddenly appears next to you in a bolt of lightning, and then there is this enormous fountain of dirt that shoots up into the air, and then you see that Chia just kind of steps off of it as it falls back down and is perfectly fine, and Morvins just kind of falls flat on the ground on right on his burned shoulder.
I can't take you people anywhere. I mean, good job.
Are we good? Do you think they're going to kick us out of the camp?
No, it was all going to burn down anyway as soon as we activated the head. And
I don't know why they were continuing to build here, to be honest.
I know, right? Why were you on top of the head cooking, though?
Oh, I was taking a look at the Overgrowth faction. I wanted to see whether they were going to be inside the main building or the head, because that would affect if we set up the heads or not, wouldn't it?
Maybe. We do have
I relate what I saw from on top of the tower.
Good.
Did you roll a 6, or you got a partial on that roll when you were scoping out the camp, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't look like it was particularly everyone was going into the head, they're sending lots of teams in, but you couldn't tell really if it was whether there were people in there or not. Everyone is starting to, there's just a flurry of activity. Nobody's really taking much notice of you all. They're all much more concerned about their tower and all their work being destroyed, and they're trying to save it. They're rushing around. What do you all do?
I think we should go back to our tent.
All right, so we quietly exit the scene.
Also, Leos will let the poor man go and follow them. Give a little head pat and then...
He looks completely shell-shocked. He just kind of nods, and he kind of kneels down on the ground. He's looking at the ruins of his makeshift launch pad, and there's just a tear trickling down his face. not looking at you all as you all move away.
He is directly in the center of all the incriminating scorch marks.
He is. We should leave him there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's about to experience the inevitable consequence of his choices.
Yep. Definitely not anyone else's choices.
And
Definitely
I
his only
feel
choices.
no guilt because we warned him. We told him to leave it alone.
He just had to. It was too good an opportunity to pass up.
Yeah, so now he gets to live as opposed to die. So we're morally in the right in this one.
Yeah.
I did have a question.
Yeah.
Chia, in this letter that you encoded, did you incriminate the rest of the gang?
Probably not, because I think there's only so much information one can encode in a message. So it's probably a note that they were suspicious of us, because they were. That it's a temporary removal from the center head, and that we're gonna, I mean, the message itself says the plan to activate all the heads. So I think those are the two bits of information that are sort of like would make sense to pass on from my perspective.
And then it just ends in a shrug emoji.
Yeah, like, I don't know what's going on here. Somehow a shrug emoji is put into this letter.
Did I already have you roll for writing the letter?
You did not have me roll for that.
Okay, go ahead and roll for that.
Okay.
However you feel is appropriate.
I'm doing study because I need to remember how to write secret ciphers. Highest was a 4.
Okay. So you're not going to be able to fit all of that information in that you wanted to. I'm going to say, like, there were like, go ahead and repeat. So like not maybe like one of the two major pieces of information that you wanted to fit in you'll be able to get in.
Yeah, it's probably it's temporary, like the implication that they plan on going back, but we're getting a temporary reprieve from the center head, which is probably summed up in like one shorthand, like temp center head leave, or some dumb sentence like that. And I'm like, I can't make it fit properly.
Okay, so you want to tell them that you've negotiated that they're not going to be exploring, but what you need them to do is you're just trying to tell them get away from the head, but it's going to be for a temporary period of time?
Yeah, I think that's what.
Yeah, avoid head and Stonebreakers.
Well, I think the letter itself is telling them to, like,
right,
her message is actually, you guys should avoid the head, and then my message is reiterating that point. But the secret one was that it's like it only appears that they are not going to the center head anymore, despite this letter saying they're done. This is a temporary deal kind of thing.
They're avoiding the center of the complex, but only for a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So the breakers are only temporarily giving up their ambitions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And honestly, I mean, this lady wants to build a city next to a ruin that's going to sink back into the earth soon. She's maybe not 100%. Like, as much as I don't love the scribblers, they're probably better prepared to deal with this than this lady is. So, like, if the door's open,
it's a questionable decision for sure.
Yeah.
Says the person whose whole entire society is based off of living by ancient ruins. But these ones don't go away. They're different. They're older.
Right.
So it's known that these disappear from time to time. And while Churners usually have, like, temporary cities, right?
Yeah, but we don't, like, decide we're going to live here forever.
There's not a permanent.
It's also really weird that a charter wants to, like, have a forever base. I mean, the whole point of the culture is to keep moving, keep the hustle. And she's like, no, we gotta establish ourselves. It's like, that's weird. we're going to establish a permanent trading camp. That sounds like a legio to me.
Or a guilder. She's basically she's proposing to build a new guilder city.
Yeah.
But she seemed quite canny to me. She seemed like she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
Is it possible that she has some way to stop the ruins from subsiding?
I don't think she knows how they work. Not these
No,
ruins.
she clearly doesn't. No.
Yeah.
But she must have a plan of some kind.
Maybe. I think our plan was to just build a tower in a city and then just live here forever, and like wasn't thinking about what would happen when building a wooden tower right next to something that's going to be burning hot, because she didn't realize it would get burning hot. She thought it was just light.
Not quite. I mean, they've obviously been working on getting into the center, so she must have an assumption that whatever's there is worth the effort of.
And it might be
building a city here.
It also could be a infinite army of undead constructs. Or more
there's already
equal
infinite
people.
centipedes, so
I know, right? Could be the mother of all toad demons, for all we know.
Leos, if she ends up controlling the mother of all toad demons, it is up to you to seduce her so that she doesn't attack us.
True. Actually, it's up to you to seduce her either way.
Cool.
Well, I propose that we get some rest, because some of us are a little bit worse for wear again. And then go and turn everything on in the morning and see what happens.
Nice. You all make your way back to the camp that has been allotted to you. Morvins, while you were up on the tower, this has clearly not been a place that people have explored for a while, and so you were actually able to gather together a small pittance of dust while you were up there, just scraping it off of the top of the stone head itself. It's just kind of oozing out of the stone itself, as is, typical for ruins like this. You can tell. I think y'all, once you make it back to your camp, will get the your experience and your rust, or your rust. And I think it'll just be the standard. I am blanking again on the expedition, the rules for rewards. Whatever the standard reward is for an expedition, you all get it.
Lovely. Expedition / rescuing Morvins from a tree.
Yeah. An expedition can be many things. An expedition can be many adventures. Cool. And I think that we can end it there. We can the final thing that we can see is the stone itself of the head. The camera kind of pans out from y'all, like Morvins is cooking a meal. Everyone is tending to their own equipment, and she is handing the letter to a messenger. The camera kind of pulls back. We can see the hustle and bustle of the camp all around you. Pulls back some more. We can see that the tower is crumbling in on itself, and everyone is just kind of standing around looking at it collapse. And we pull out more, and we can see the whole ruins with bustles of activity on all sides as everyone is gathering around, seeking their fortune. And we will end there. And that has been session 3 of Burial Grounds, our Icon RPG. And thank you all for playing.
Thank you for running.
So, expedition reward. Oh, here we go. No, it doesn't say. Okay, so let's do the thing that we usually do, where I go around and introduce everybody and or tell everybody where we can be found. Let's go the opposite way around. Let's start with Misha.
All right. I'm Misha, or Misha_less_than 3 here on Twitch, or at Misha Weha on Tumblr. I don't think I'm going to be in a lot of games for a while, but I'll see you in December. And I guess there's some end of session stuff. I think for me, it's mostly just, have you fulfilled at least one of your ideals, such as addressing challenges with my unique perspective, talents, or culture, like, using cool earth magics to go down and stuff like that, which seems reasonable for what we were doing. So I'll just take that one. And yeah, I'm pretty sure the maths will have us level up after this one, so that'll be exciting.
I think it's 15 XP per level. So
yeah, and we should be pretty
close
there.
Yeah, you should be at 18 just from expeditions now.
Excellent.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Sin.
Hi, I'm Sin, or Sinful__potato on Twitch and other social media sites. Basically, kind of. Yeah. I've been playing Leos, who has definitely not set anything on fire. It's fine. It's cool. But they've also saved not one, but 2 or more beings from possible violent situations. So technically that's still kind of doing the ideals of, not doing violence, but also it involved violence the first time around. So yeah. But this time around, it did not use violence. So technically, would that not then fall under the ideal of diffusing a potentially violent situation by saving that guy, and therefore it's no longer violent?
But you saved him by burning down the tower, which is violent. So it's a twofer.
Nice. Could also be under addressing challenges with patience, wisdom, or experience. The experience being we're used to just running in head first, not thinking.
And doing more of that, which is in alignment with your experience, yes.
Indeed. Lovely.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the character advancement XP is your decision whether you think that it makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah. I don't know if I'll be playing any games coming up. I don't really know if there's anything on the docket as of right now that includes me, so
yeah, we'll get it figured out.
Till then, you can find me in chat here, hanging out, watching other people play fun games, or hanging out in chat of other friend streamers, or I plan to do some streams on Fridays in November and December and October, so there's that. Yeah, that's me. Twi.
Hello, I've been Twi'lek, and I am Morvans. This session, I fulfilled the ideal of hustle. I was busy. I wasn't very dependable. I wasn't, very cautious either, but I was hustling. And I was also challenged. I was tested, as I tested everyone else here. 0.
Yep, and I am Zero. And this session, well, obviously lying, but also telling the truth, and telling the truth as a way of deceiving. So, getting into and out of situations with cleverness, deceit, and charm is 100% the value and mission of the character. So I think that works. Yeah, and yeah, I now have to like schedule things, which means but it'll get done. It'll get done. We've got
I've given tough scheduling permissions also.
oh,
if
lovely,
you need
good.
assistance.
I can guilt tough into doing things. But also, I mean, we have so many things on the planning list. I just finished while writing a game, and then also writing a subset of that to drive Suburbiana, because I was going to do it in 10 candles, but I don't really like the 10 candles for the story I want to tell. So Suburbiana is still a thing. Alien is still a thing. All Gods of Appalachia has to happen, which will be Strange Roots, which needs to get on the calendar. We've got a laundry list of things that need to happen, as well as some wonderful returning things that we need to get back to. And I'm sure we will do more Cowboys and Cthulhu in the very near future. Just don't have a date for that. So stay tuned. And we will see how that goes. I think, oh, well, actually, first of all, thank everyone for showing up in chat. Thank you, Jeff, for running. Thank you to all the players. And we will say goodbye to our friends on YouTube, and then we will come back and write out. So goodbye, everyone on YouTube. See you again soon.